Hey everybody, this is Stu Fuchs from Ukulele Zen with another ukulele lesson and play-along jam session. Today we're going to play a really simple 3-chord tune, Bob Seger's Old Time Rock and Roll. Anytime I sing this song in a group of strummers, it turns the whole room into a raucous party, so it's a great tune to learn. It's also one of those songs where once you know the chord progression, it just keeps going around and around, it never changes. So it's an easy song for beginners to learn and build their skills. What I'm going to show you in this lesson are 2 ways to play the strum. I'm going to show you a beginner strum. I'm going to show a more advanced strumming technique using decorative boogie notes. And then at the end of our jam session, after we play the tune together, I'm going to show you some really cool solo licks. Everything you need to follow along with this jam session lesson is right here in the video, but if you would like to support this channel and receive a printable PDF with the lyrics, the chords, and tabbed out solo licks, well, it's available for patrons of Ukulele Zen. You can click the link below and also click on this card up here to visit my Patreon page, learn about the benefits of membership. Now let's get into the lesson. This whole song begins with a classic riff. This is at the beginning of the song before the chords start. And this is also where Tom Cruise dances around in his underwear in the movie Risky Business. That riff is played here. Okay, 3rd fret, it's 1st fret, open. 1. All tabbed out for you on the PDF. Now for the chord progression. We have 2 bars of G, 1, 2, 2 bars of C, 2 bars of D, and a bar of G, and then something special here. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Join in with me. C, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And here comes the special measure. 1, 2. Don't play on 1. 1. So that chord progression is the turnaround, takes you back to the top of the progression. Notice how I'm playing down and up strums with emphasis on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's the backbeat. Now I'd like to show you the more advanced version, and this will use boogie notes, same exact chord progression. And if you'd like, you can even palm mute. Palm muting is something that I cover in my lesson for the Proclaimers 500 miles. You can check out that video. And what this does is create a very muffled rock and roll kind of sound. So right now you could go through the progression like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 bars of C. 1, 2, 2 bars of D. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 2 bars of 1 bar of G, and special 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now the palm muting is totally optional, but what it does is add an extra chunky rock and roll type of guitar tone. For the boogie notes, we're going to do the same idea as what we did earlier this month in Butterfingers. Okay, we're going to add boogie notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see for each chord, I'm decorating by dropping my finger on these other notes. For the D chord, it's a good idea to get comfortable with barring the chord like this so you can drop that extra note right there. Now if you're playing a high G ukulele, you can do that same thing. It will sound a little different, but it still has the same effect as a boogie note. Here's the chord progression with 2-note boogie notes. Just take those old records off the shelf. 2 bars of C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 bars of D. And 1 bar of G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You can also add 3-note boogie lines to the song, and it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Here's that special measure. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now If you're comfortable stretching the pinky out that far, that's great. If it feels like a huge stretch, I have two suggestions for you. The first one is you can try this on a concert or a soprano ukulele, because when the instrument's smaller, your hand will immediately get bigger. But a better solution, I think, is to take a look at your chords and make sure that your fingers are angled just a little more parallel. Just for this type of idea, when you make the fingers more parallel, you're adding more length to the finger, makes it easier to reach those notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can go in between 2 notes and 3 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I'm using 3 notes, then 2 notes. That's how you would apply some rock and roll boogie notes to this song. All right, let's jam out the song together. We've already practiced the chord progression, so please follow along. Strum along with any strum you like. Keep that steady backbeat, or add boogie notes, 2 notes or 3 notes. We're going to begin the song with the intro riff. Remember, it doesn't start on beat 1, it starts on beat 2. I'll begin by counting off. Let's do it. Are you ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Just take those old records off the shelf. I'll sit and listen to them by myself. Today's music ain't got the same soul. I like that old time rock and roll. Don't gotta take me to a disco. You'll never even get me out on the floor. In 10 minutes I'll be late for the door. Start playing old time rock and roll. Chorus, still like that old time rock and roll. That style of music just soothes the soul. I'll reminisce about the days of old with that old time of rock and roll. Don't go to hear him play a tango. I'd rather hear some blues and funky old soul. There's only one sure way to get me to go. Start playing old time of rock and roll. Call me a relic, call me what you will. Say I'm old-fashioned, say I'm over the hill. Today's music ain't got the same soul. Ooh, I like that old time of rock and roll. Still like that old time of rock and roll. That style of music just soothes the soul. I'll reminisce about the days of old with that old time of rock and roll. Strum the chords now. G. Here we go with C. This is where the solo licks go. Let's do that one more time. Still like that old time of rock and roll. That kind of music just soothes the soul. I'll reminisce about the days of old with that old time of rock and roll. And of course the song can just keep on going and going. You could even do a breakdown where you get everybody clapping along. 1, 2, 3, 4. With that old time of rock and roll. Then bring back the chords. That old time rock and roll. So it's one of those songs that can just keep going on and on in a joyful way. So I hope you enjoy this so far. I'm going to show you some solo licks now that will work for the key of G. In a lot of ways, this is going to be building upon what we covered a few weeks back with the licks for I'll Fly Away using thirds. The first riff goes over the G chord. I'm playing the thirds here at the 7th and the 5th fret. That's part of the G major chord, the top 2 notes. I'm playing the riff like this. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, Now there's a lot of ways that you can embellish this. This is a nice seed idea for future riffs. What I'm doing is essentially playing steady eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I slide in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That slide can be tricky at first. Try to forget about the slide and just focus on where you're ending up at the 7th and the 5th fret. If you're comfortable with this G major lick, you can embellish it by adding the pinky to the 7th fret and then up here to the 8th fret. That would sound like this. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you add that with a sliding idea and some back and forth between the pinky and the 5th fret, it sounds a bit like this. Here it is slower. This whole idea is tabbed out on the PDF that's available at Patreon. For the C7 chord, what we're going to do is we're going to play this shape. It looks a lot like a G7 chord, and what you do is you slide that shape all the way up to the 7th, 6th, and 7th fret to make a C7 chord. For this, we're going to have the same idea of playing steady eighth notes. This time you could strum with the finger. Once again, this is just a kernel, a seed idea for some things you can do. What you can do is you can pinch the 3rd and the 1st string and do this. Start to play with rhythm. You could also play just these 2 notes at the 7th fret and the 6th fret, 2nd string and 1st string. So when you put this together with the G chord, it sounds like this. Alright, so there's a little bit of space on the C chord. Rhythmically, there's a little bit of space. When we get to the D chord, we're going to be playing single notes, and this will begin right here at the 3rd string, 5th fret, sliding up to the 6th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, and then back down 7, 5. Those are the notes we're using. Play it again. When you put this in context with the whole solo, it sounds as if you're playing the changes even without chords in the background. Keep in mind, I am doing some variations and I encourage you to do your own variations as well. I'll guide you through that process in the future. Let me give you a few examples. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the D7 chord down there at the open position. So my intention is to show you a few seed ideas. Please play around with these, change them, make them your own, and pretty soon you'll have a growing list of vocabulary that you can put over a tune like this in the key of G. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hope you'll share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all your support on Patreon. I'm glad that you're here either way. Thank you so much for being a part of Ukulele Zen, and I hope that music and the ukulele is making your day wonderful today. See you in the next video.